Everyone, this is Joe with Business Credit Workshop, and in this video, I'm going to share with you what you must do in 2021 to obtain business credit, to get business funding. This is a live that I just did on Facebook, and I said, you know what, I really want to share with my YouTube community as well, because I shared a lot of good knowledge. In fact, I'm going to drop 3 knowledge bombs on the table for you of things that you must do in order to get funding in 2021. And we even covered the state of the market and state of lending. So I think you'll really enjoy this. So with that, here is the State of the Union. Here I am. Hello. How about that? So you deserve to have a great business. You deserve to have the right type of business that you can provide the type of lifestyle you want and for your family as well. So the reason I'm doing this live is a couple of things. One, I wanted to, people seem to like when I share, what's the state of the union, what's the state of the market, how is lending right now and things like that. By the way, I should probably just double check if you can hear me okay. Please let me know in the comments and I'll double check the stream in just a couple seconds to make sure everything looks good. So that was one of the things on my mind. The other thing too is I wanted to, we're a few weeks, days into the new year here, and I wanted to help capture your attention and put focus on what's going to help you see success this year as far as getting business credit and business funding. So kind of rewire our brains. I think it's a great opportunity to kind of refocus on what's working and kind of avoid what's not working. I learned a lot over the last year. Our business has really exploded tremendously. Thank God. Very grateful for that. And sorry, I'm not looking at the screen. I'm just checking the feed while I'm going along. But that I wouldn't be able to accomplish what I've been able to accomplish if it weren't for you guys. So thank you to our audience, to our community, to all of our clients. So what I want to cover with you, and I also want to check also if you have questions, like if you have a burning issue that is on your mind that is preventing you from getting business credit. I want to make sure that I can help you overcome whatever issue that is. All right. Let's see how the audio sounds. Just bear with me. It looks good. All right, cool. I'm going to mute that. All right, so I'm also going to have this open as well on my phone. So if you have questions, you can let me know down below. And then we'll figure that out. So the first thing that I want you to look at going into this year is to put out your goals and write out how much business credit funding do you want to obtain this year. And then writing some action steps or what's going to help you get there. Then every day review your goals. Thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate that. So you want to have that goals written out, and you want to be able to review and make sure you review your goals every single day. It will really help you stay focused in a sometimes chaotic world. Shannon says, "Hey Joe." Hey Shannon. So I actually have some slides for you. How about that? So let me open that up. One second. Got some these are my cheat sheets. Cheat sheets. All right, so boom. Okay, so with that, welcome to the State of the Union. All right, so for those of you that don't know me, my name is Joe Lawrence, founder of Business Credit Workshop, and I help small business owners obtain business lines of credit and business credit cards all across the U.S. without having to walk to a bank, without having to show tax returns. And I have lots of clients, lots of testimonials. The process that I've been using for the last 13 years still works to this day. And the post feedback testimonials and things like that speak for themselves. And I just wanted to kind of share with you kind of, if you haven't heard of me, who I am, what we do, and things like that. The way that we are able to help people get business credit and business funding is through a process of working with local community banks and credit unions, but also preparing your business credit profile in such a way that banks will want to lend to you. So these are the 3 items that you really need to focus on in 2021. Okay. I talk a lot about building up your business credit score and your business credit profile and things like that. And, but I wanted to narrow down like what worked well for my clients and for myself in 2020, and what do we need to focus on in 2021? So the first thing is to get your personal credit in order. When you look at what you should do is, and I'm going to do some screen sharing too, because I think it'd be cooler this way. So what you should do is the first thing you should do, and why are we talking about personal credit? Well, you'll see why. It's connected. And even though business credit won't show on your personal credit profile, the type of business credit that I help you obtain, and business credit is separate from personal credit. And if you max out your business credit card, it doesn't hurt your personal credit score. So those are all the advantages of getting business credit. But if you're trying to get unsecured and no doc business lines of credit without showing the tax returns, without walking into a bank, and without giving any collateral, then the bank's going to look at your FICO score. They are going to look at your credit score. So look at your credit score. Get your credit score in order. So go get an account from myfico.com. There's no hard inquiry when they pull up your personal credit profile. It's about $40 a month is the plan that I recommend. Look at that. I'm already telling you how to spend your money. So very important. Your ability to get funding and get money in your personal life and in your business is directly tied to your personal credit score, and of course your business credit score as well. But for the purpose of this personal credit, go get an account with myfico.com. It's $40 a month is the plan that I recommend. You're going to get your FICO score 8, which is the score that banks used. If you have Credit Karma or some other services, banks aren't really using credit score as much as they're using FICO score. So you want to get the FICO score, and I'd highly recommend you get it from myfico.com and sign up for that plan. Now, when you do that, let me open up some notes here. By the way, just let me know in the comments if you could hear me okay, and if you could see everything okay. Because for some reason on my phone, it looks really crazy. It looks like an old TV when you'd plug in like your Nintendo and you're trying to get everything to work, and it's all jumbled. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm just curious how things are looking. But anyways, let me get you some notes here so that you can follow along. Sonia says yes. All right, thank you, Sonia. So the first thing we want to focus on, where'd it go? Is personal credit. Okay. So when we're looking at personal credit, let me make this a little bigger for you as well. All right, that's good, right? The first thing you want to look at is your, obviously you want to look at your FICO score, okay? And we'll come back to that in just a second. The next thing you want to look at when you get your MyFICO account is you want to see if you have any negative items, okay? If you have any negative items, you need to dispute those negative items. And the resource that I recommend, we'll do a little shameless plug to our blog, which is businesscreditworkshop.me. And we did a review on a product that all of my coaching students have. It's called Credit Secrets. You've probably heard of it. If you haven't, you should pick up their ebook. It's creditsecrets.com, and it's a great product. It's under $50. This is what it looks like. And they also have a Facebook group, and I highly recommend you grab that. Grab access to that as well. So dispute any negative items if applicable, and I like to use the Credit Secrets ebook process. Okay. Next thing we look at is utilization. You want to have ideal utilization be 25% or less. So if you look at your revolving debt, thank God for spell check. If you look at your revolving debt, and this is not for term loans or mortgages or anything like that, but if you look at your revolving debt, you just simply add up your total balances. Let's say your total balances of revolving debt's $1,000, and you look at your total limits. So your total limits is $10,000. So $1,000 balance, $10,000 limit, that's a 10% utilization. Okay, so that's how you figure out personal credit utilization, or you have the MyFICO account, and they'll simply tell you what your utilization is. Okay, so we talked about any negative items, utilization, and then age of trade lines. Ideally, you want to have at least 10 years age trade lines on your personal credit profile. So if you're 18 and you got a Capital One card, like I did, and then you're 28, that would be 10 years old. Okay. If you have trade lines that are younger than that, you may want to consider One thing I did recently for my wife is I added her as an authorized user to my Amex card, and it has a $20,000 balance, no limit of $20,000, and then a balance of $0, and I've had it for a long time, more than 10 years. So I added her as an authorized user to that Amex card. And it has helped boost her FICO score. Even though she had great FICO score, there were some things we wanted to do to kind of perfect it. And this actually was free and simple and easy, and it boosted up her score and it lowered her utilization. So you can look into authorized users with this respect to utilization and age of trade lines as well. Let's look at my cheat sheets here. Oh yeah, highest limit. Highest limit is pretty important because if you have a bunch of business credit, personal credit cards, and you get your limit's like 1K or 5K or whatever, that's kind of low. Preferably, you want to have 10K or higher as highest limit. And it's the other thing I really like about business credit is it's true to this day, the business credit card limits are usually much higher than the personal credit card limits. Okay, so if you have 10K highest limit on the personal side, you might get 50,000 from Chase, like some of my students have recently gotten as a business credit card limit, or 35 or 25 or 10 or 15 or whatever. Okay, so those are the basics that I wanted to cover with personal credit as far as and then score. So everyone says, what's the minimum FICO score to get business credit? There really is no minimum FICO score. And the reason for that is it's a blended score. So the banks really do look at your business credit profile, and then they need another leg. So they could use tax returns as a leg, they could use assets as a leg, or they could use personal credit score as a leg. So you have to bring at least one of those three legs of credit to the table. And most of my clients, they want to do no doc, unsecured business lines of credit, credit cards. So that means they don't want to show tax returns, and they don't want to show they don't want to give any collateral, right? So in that case, the bank's looking at the FICO score. So that's why it was important to talk about FICO score, because the banks look at a blended score between personal and business credit score. There's really no ideal FICO score. I can tell you, I have clients that have gotten approvals in 680s. I have clients that have gotten approvals and their FICO score is over 700. I would try to keep the score 730 or higher, but I have students that have gotten approval at a 700 FICO score. I mean, it really depends on the total package. So there's really no minimum. And if there is specific to a certain bank, then they can usually tell you what that is. Ace says, hey, everybody. Hey, Ace. Welcome. Good to have you here. By the way, if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. A lot of times a question on your mind is a question on someone else's mind. And cool. All right, I don't see any questions. Perfect. And it looks like our feed looks good too. How about that? So let's move to the next topic that I want to talk about. So far we talked about the three things to focus on in 2021, and so far we talked about getting your personal credit in order. The next thing, the second item, is finding local banks and building relationships. This is crucial to obtaining business credit in 2021, and we still have a pandemic that's going on. Things are starting to look better. We got people doing the vaccine already, and the death rate percentage-wise is less than it was before. So we're learning a lot more about the pandemic, and what that has to do with business credit is that banks are still lending. They still have a lot of programs that are available to you. There's still a lot of confidence in the market. A lot of fun stuff has been happening lately with the marketplace, including the Dow Jones and different things like that. But anyways, the building relationships with local community banks and credit unions, it's something I learned right around the Great Recession of 2007. So when I entered my career as a small business owner, I was actually in real estate. And one of the things that happened was the recession occurred, right? right around the end of 2007, early 2008. That's exactly when I quit my job and went all in. And the way it was actually really great that that happened in the sense that I was able to learn the process of obtaining business credit, even when it seems like no one's lending. I remember driving around and banks actually had billboards out that said, "We're still lending." I mean, who does that, right? So that's like the proof of my concept here of the fact that it wasn't really good. It was hard to find banks that were lending, so much so that that was their advertising in on local billboards, is that we're still lending, right? The bank that was still lending was a local community bank. Okay, it was a local bank in New Jersey. That's where I am. And I reached out to them like, "What are you doing? What are you lending? I saw your billboard." And I met with the vice president of business lending. He ended up actually being close childhood friends of my buddy Joe, who does personal credit, things like that. So small world. And long story short, there's two things that I learned from that experience. One, these local community banks and credit unions have lots of money to lend, and because they have deposits from all their clients, so they have to put the money out there. They don't have a choice, right? And two, and this is my whole point here, is that by building the relationship with that local lender, I was able to, when all the madness was happening with PPP, and all the madness happening with EIDL and SBA loans and the pandemic and all this unknown, all this uncertainty, guess who was talking to his banker on Sunday afternoon? I remember I was hanging out, having a few drinks and just relaxing, by the pool and whatnot. And my banker called me and I'm like, oh God, I better take good notes because, I've had a few. But hey, it was the weekend, and he called me. So what are you going to do? So I ended up emailing myself what we talked about. And the whole point of that is that don't pretend like you don't like to have a good time. So the whole point of that is that I had the number of the banker. He had my personal number. And when no one could reach him, we were still in communication. Now, if I walk into a big, large national bank, it's very hard to build those close-knit, tight-knit relationships with a large national bank. They have, sorry to whatever, throw heat on them or whatever. But I mean, like, the turnover is pathetic. So when I walk into my local bank, it's like the same person's been there for 20 years. You know what I mean? When I walk into that big national bank, their turnover is horrible, right? It's always a different teller. It's always a different vice president of business lending. It's hard to build that long-term relationship with them. So do I get business credit from national banks? Absolutely. Lots of money. I'll take it any day. But to be adaptable, what you need to do is you need to focus on the local community banks, the local credit unions that allow you to actually build relationships with maybe the part owner of the bank. Pausing for dramatic effect. Maybe the CFO of the bank, right? Maybe the vice president of business lending, maybe the branch manager. So having a relationship, a friendship with those bankers was one of the best things that could have happened to us in 2020, because a lot of people were like, they couldn't reach their banker, and yet I was still able to talk to my banker on the weekends. I was still able to text him. I was still able to chat with them, right? So get your bankers off the script, take them out for coffee, whatever you're allowed to do, go do it. Go to those networking events, as soon as it's safe to do so, right? But go play golf outside, whatever it is. But whatever your thing is, but build relationships with these local community banks and credit unions, because when it hits the fan, you're able to actually meet with these bankers when no one else can. And secondly, the banker can advocate for your approval. A lot of the approvals that I got over the last year, and a lot of the approvals I want to help you get this year in 2021, are going to come from the relationships that we have with these vice presidents of business lending, the loan officers, so that we have someone on the inside that can kind of push your approval through, that can kind of advocate for your approval, right? And they're not miracle workers. If you're not qualified, it's just not going to happen. But you better believe it makes a huge difference, especially with local banking. If they know who you are, they like you, and they trust you, that you're able to get things done that most people are not able to get done. You're able to learn information that most people will never know. A lot of the programs that we are able to get our clients are not on the bank's website. They're not in a pamphlet anywhere, okay? It's because we have a relationship with that local bank. Okay. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? And are you getting value so far in what I'm sharing with you? If so, let me know. If you're watching this live, please let me know. If you're liking what I'm sharing with you so far, please hit that thumbs up button or hit the heart button. And if you're watching this as a replay, welcome. And please also let me know in the comments below. I always like to see that. So the third item to focus on in 2021, thank you for the likes, is to track everything. One of the big secrets to my success is I'm great at analyzing data and tracking everything and paying attention, just listening. Be a good listener. So what do we mean by tracking everything? So let's close. There we go. That's better. All right. So one of the things that I share in my training is to look at the top SBA lender list in your state. Not that we're trying to necessarily get an SBA loan, but more of it's helpful to use a database that someone already came out with. And the SBA Small Business Administration ranks the top lending banks just about every year in your state. So, so one of the things I tell people to do, I'm telling you to do this, is find this list in your state and then call all of these banks and build relationships with them. There's millions of dollars in business credit in this, what do you want to call it? In this list, in this database. So, so the things that you want to track, local banks. All right. So the things that you want to track, there's a few things. Everything. Now I'm Jamaican. So track everything that you can, including the most important is which bank is lending. All right. This is super crucial, and this is not hard to do. Besides this process, which is a manual, painstaking process, go on to Facebook, which you're here now, and go look at my search history and see that I'm a diehard Republican. No. So go on and look at some of these different things. So Navy Federal Credit Union has a fan club, a Facebook group. Go on there and join, and just listen and pay attention to the conversations that are happening. Good afternoon. You've been conditionally approved for $15,000 for a credit card, right? Okay, and that just happened 2 hours ago. All right, and then I can read all the comments and all that, and then just trying to pay my bills. So just kind of go through the different groups that are out there. Obviously, we have a great group, which hopefully you're a part of. If you're not, it's called the Business Credit Builders Group. It's free to join, and you can look at some of the information here as well. But anyways, go on Facebook, join some of these groups. There's some really awesome Facebook groups. So we have the SBA lender list. And you guys are so lucky because you got Facebook groups. We didn't have that when I was trying to get business credit. So there's some really amazing, powerful Facebook groups that you can join where people are talking about everything. They're talking about who's lending, who's not lending, what their approvals are. Join the personal credit Facebook groups, join the business credit Facebook groups, and just engage in the dialogue, because what will happen is you'll see more of it on your feed because Facebook will see that you're into it, So, and it's nice to be a part of these communities and don't just take from the community, provide value as well. So track everything, track which bank is lending, excuse me, pay attention to who's lending. And you could look at the SBA lender list. You can look at Facebook groups, lots of different ways to figure that out. Next thing to track is which Net 30 vendor. This is exciting. Vendor is reporting. This is one of the biggest things that holds people up is they're trying to build their business credit profile. They're trying to build up the business credit score, and the list of Net 30 vendors that are reporting, for example, some office supplies just had a big change at the end of October. keeps changing. So you can go on my blog, of course, and you can check things out and look at, our list of vendors and things like that. And the whole point of this is you use these net 30 vendor trade line accounts to get small little business accounts on credit, and then they report the business credit usage to the business credit bureaus. And then what that does is it boosts up your business credit score so that you can obtain business credit and build up your business credit profile, which is, a big part of how you're going to get funding, right? You got to build up your business and personal credit profile in such a way that banks are willing to lend to you. And then you got to know where to get the money, and you got to know how to talk to the bank, right? So this is one piece of the puzzle. And I want you to track and pay attention to which net 30 vendors are reporting. And a lot of that information you're going to have to figure out on your own by tracking everything, but also you can do so inside of Facebook groups and things like that. Oh yeah, here's another one. I mean, this is kind of common sense, but make sure you're tracking your purchases, because I've actually seen people that make purchases, like they go get the BP gas card, and they go get an account with Quill and Valero and all that, and then they pay late. And there's a whole process to dispute late payments if you screw that up with your business credit profile. Nobody's perfect. But if you're tracking your purchases and due dates, and you pay all of your net 30 accounts, about a week before they're due, it'd be a great idea to do that, because you want to be organized and track that 100% so that you don't pay late, obviously. All right, and then lastly is tracking results. We talked about setting goals, and goals need to be measurable, right? And the only way you can measure a goal is if you're tracking the results. So when you get an approval, whether it's for a net 30 account, or it's for a business credit card, a business line of credit, a term loan, if you're a real estate investor, it could be a cash out refi, or it could be SBA, EIDL loan, whatever. When you get these results, make sure that you're tracking them, because if you're not paying attention to the results, then it's very hard for you to get any results. If you're not actually, it's just like calorie counting or dieting. Like, whether you did good or bad, you need to write it down and track it, because it'll be on your mind. It'll be something that you're focused on, and that's how human psychology works. If you're not focused on it, if you're not tracking it, then it's not going to be on the front of your mind, and it's going to be very hard for you through 2021 to hit your goals without tracking your results. So make sure you're doing that. Super important. And I want to see, I don't see any questions, which is kind of cool. If you have any questions, let me know now, because we're about to wrap this up. It's about a half hour so far. I wanted to keep it about 30 minutes. And I'll tell you one more thing is, if you want to work with me personally, I do have a coaching program. You can go to bcwcoaching.com. So it's very simply BCW, Business Credit Workshop. So go to bcwcoaching.com, and you'll be brought to a page that looks like this. And you could look at a case study of how we've helped a client get $500,000 in business credit in just 30 days without walking into a bank. So you click Get My Case Study, type in your email. And then on the next page, what will happen is you watch this 10-minute video. It talks all about our program that we offer, our coaching program. And then you can complete your business credit coaching application right here. It takes about a minute to fill out, and then you can schedule a 15-minute consultation with us. So if you are interested in learning more and working with me personally, then just go to bcwcoaching.com, and I include in our coaching program email support and phone support and group coaching calls, a database of all the banks that are currently listing, that are lending currently, including business credit cards, lines of credit. Some of the banks that we have close relationships with, we will do a warm introduction with you as well. And it works out really great. So I'd love to chat with you further. If that's something you're interested in, just go to bcwcoaching.com. All right. So thank you so much for being a part of this live. If you like this, again, hit the thumbs up. I appreciate that. If not, hit the sad emoji. But anyways, I really appreciate working with each and every one of you. And again, if I didn't have you here watching me, I wouldn't be here doing this. So thank you. And with that, make it a good 2021. I'll be active as I usually am on Facebook and YouTube as well, and inside of our Facebook group. So I hope you decide to join our community. And good luck to you. Work with local community banks and credit unions. Get your house in order. Banks are lending as far as lending and things like that. It's way up. Only about a third of the banks, which may sound like a lot, but about a third of them stop lending when things hit the fan. But that left 2/3 of our database that's still actively lending. And over the last 30 days, 60 days, I've been seeing some crazy approvals. Like I mentioned, $50,000 business credit card through Chase, and I had a few people get that now. So it's not just Chase. A lot of local community banks, a lot of credit unions are lending, and they're actively lending. I only see that continuing in the future. So we're definitely doing better right now than we were months ago as far as business lending. And if you look at that, it looks like it's getting better and better. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.